thank you, and to you also, Ruth Lee, for coming here. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. And that is all for now, but not the end of the story, of course. ITN will bring you any more developments that there may be through the night and tomorrow and after that. For now, on this bleak, sad evening for the people of America and for all the rest of us who are going to have to live with the consequences, good night.
This is Carlton, part of ITV1. It's now 11:35 and time for the late headlines from your local Central News team.
Good evening. As the consequences of the tragic events in America continue to unfold, it's been an anxious day for East Midlanders desperately trying to contact loved ones across the Atlantic. Tonight, for one mum, the agonising wait is over. Di Hancock's son lives in New York. Incredibly, Dan Hancock was late for an appointment at the base of the World Trade Center. Sarah Teal reports.
Di Hancock's son Dan lives in Brooklyn Heights, just a mile away from the devastation. The 31-year-old, who was born and bred at Duffield in Derbyshire, should have been returning a tuxedo to a shop at the base of the World Trade Center. He overslept, and instead he watched from the roof of his apartment building as the Twin Towers disintegrated.
I could see the World Trade Center with smoke billowing out of it, and it was horrifying. It seemed more like a movie than reality. And yet, there it was right in front of us. I realized that, potentially I should have been there. At that point, I was really quite shaken up.
Di, a welfare manager at South East Derbyshire College at Ilkeston, had to wait for 2 hours to hear if her son and his wife Elise were still alive.
I was absolutely petrified because you don't think the unthinkable. You don't know, and it could have been anybody, and they could just have been there.
Today, as amazing escape stories like Dan Hancock's come to light, it's hard to imagine that there can be a single person who isn't touched in some way by the tragic events in America. Sarah Teal, Central News.
Meanwhile, a New Yorker who plays basketball for the Leicester Riders is still anxiously awaiting news of friends who worked in the World Trade Center. Chris Hesketh has his story.
After hours of frustration and worry, professional basketball player Billy Singleton finally gets through to his family in New York from his Leicestershire home. He's been trying to get in touch ever since he first saw these pictures on his television screen. Billy knows his family are safe, but two of his closest friends worked in these Twin Towers, and Billy doesn't know whether they're alive or dead.
I had been trying to get through for like 8 or 9 hours with no luck at all. All the phone lines were down. All the lines were busy. And, I have, as I said, 2 family members who worked in the World Trade Center. And I also have a very good friend of mine, actually 2 very good friends. They're like family to me, so I haven't had the word on them yet.
There's still no indication of how large the death toll in America will be. All Billy Singleton can hope for is that his nearest and dearest have survived. Chris Hesketh for Central News.
East Midlands Airport is now in a state of heightened security. Flights are operating, but passengers are facing rigorous security checks. Travel agencies are being inundated with inquiries from people scheduled to fly to the States. Alison McKenzie reports.
At East Midlands Airport, it's mostly holiday traffic to Europe, but they're taking no chances. Hand luggage is being kept to a minimum. Passengers are being asked to use see-through plastic bags.
We've been asked not to take any separate hand luggage on, only our essentials in see-through plastic bags for security purposes.
We were asked to arrive a little bit earlier and not to bring any cabin luggage with us, so we've packed everything in the case.
Travel agencies such as this one in Leicester send 15,000 tourists a year to the States. But with all airports in America at a standstill, flights have been cancelled.
The majority of the airlines have advised us that they will either offer alternative travel dates to passengers booked or full refunds. I would say to people who are travelling within the next 48 hours, it is unlikely that any flights will be going.
At East Midlands Airport, extra security measures are in force, but otherwise it's operating normally. The airport is urging passengers not to jam the switchboard here with inquiries. Instead, they say passengers preparing to travel should contact their travel operators or read the websites for information. Alison Mackenzie, Central News.
In Nottingham today, a book of condolence was opened as a gesture of solidarity with the people of New York and Washington. One of the first to sign was American Jimmy Smith, whose brother was supposed to be at the Pentagon yesterday. Eric McInnes spoke to him.
The Book of Condolence has been opened as an act of solidarity with the two US cities reeling from the terror attacks. Today, American Jimmy Smith added his name.
I've just written, "To my fellow countrymen, my prayers are with you. May God meet every need that the world has at this time. God bless America with love and respect."
Jimmy's brother Ronnie, a former Nottingham Knights basketball player, should have been at the Pentagon yesterday, but on a whim changed his mind. A decision that probably saved his life.
He's now Lieutenant Colonel in the Air National Guard, and yesterday he decided, that some other job he had to do had, a higher priority, and he didn't go.
And in Boston, Lincolnshire, a town with strong symbolic links with the United States, another book has been opened, offering more opportunity for people to express their sorrow. Eric McInnes, Central News.
Other news now, a man has appeared in court charged with kidnapping a woman and then robbing her. In a second hearing, a young woman was charged with helping him and intimidating witnesses. It follows a series of alleged robberies. Richard Brown was in court.